That's not the right move in this volatile part of the world at this time, is it?
No, certainly not. Certainly not. And but as I was saying earlier, we need to view this in terms of the wider geopolitical strategy that's going on. It's not appropriate to view this as an isolated incident, or as to simply view the incident within the context of its own, if it's of the actual recent events. We have to look at the wider picture. And the wider picture indicates that this is part of the process of escalating hostilities with Iran. There's some kind of effort being made to undermine the ability, as I said, of the Iranians to engage in trade and commerce in the region. Mm-hmm. And it appears that what is happening is that anti-Iranian forces internationally have created one situation after another that they're trying to use as a provocation. They want Iran to carry out the first strike. We saw with the incident where Donald Trump supposedly ordered an attack on Iran and then pulled back at the last moment. There's been some discrepancies in terms of what actually happened during that particular incident. But we see that one situation after another has been rolled out where there's been some kind of effort to escalate hostilities or instigate hostilities with Iran, whether it's claims that Iran somehow supposedly attacked the tankers in the Gulf of Oman, or whether it's some other issue. We see one incident after another being rolled out. And this appears to be the latest incident. It appears to be that there was we don't really know where this tanker came from. We don't really know where this tanker came from. It appears to be, though, that it was some kind of setup. It looks like that, once again, there's some kind of pretext that's being created through which Iran can be accused of somehow violating international law or carrying out an act of war or acting aggressively. So we don't really have a lot of information about this. This is something that just happened recently.
Exactly.
But that's what it smells like. That's what it smells like. It smells like yet another setup attempt, because it's obvious that there are powerful forces in the West, in America, in Britain, and also in the nations in the Middle East that are aligned with Iran. It's clear that those nations want to instigate hostilities with Iran. They made that clear over and over again. Donald Trump himself may be reluctant to pursue that, but there's clearly a lot of powerful forces that want to do this. They want to continue to escalate hostilities with Iran. And as we've seen, there's been one setup attempt after another, one pretext that's been that these elements have tried to create after another. And this just seems to be the latest in a series of events.
Mm-hmm. And Keith, there's also another aspect. Iran is in charge of providing security in the Persian Gulf. It has stressed time and again that it wants security in the region for its own trade and for others. And as you see, and you've heard about sanctions. President Trump is boasting of the more severe sanctions of all time that are being imposed on Iran. But still, this shows that Iran has preserved, and it's relying on its own domestic also and military prowess. The downing of this intruding drone just a while ago was an example, and just recently, those little petrol boats, you see, they just stopped the tanker that was carrying smuggled fuel and seized it.
Yeah, and all of these things are part of this ongoing series that I was describing. It's really fascinating to watch, because it's clear that external powers are creating one situation after another where they're trying to lure Iran into some kind of trap. It's no different than, say, when a hunter is out in the woods trying to set one trap after another, hoping one will work. That's what is going on with Iran. That's basically what seems to be American, and by extension the American allies' policy towards Iran. They're just setting one trap after another, hoping that Iran will eventually fall into one of these, and then they can say, oh, look, the Iranians, they attacked a ship, or they carried out an act of war, or they violated international law. Whatever the pretext is, that all of this is simply a smokescreen that's being used to justify the escalation of hostilities with Iran.
All right, appreciate your comments. Keith Preston, independent journalist and researcher, joined us from Richmond. And we're just talking about this footage that we received from IRGC that just announced a seizure of a tanker. We don't have accurate information where it came from exactly. I read something from Panama. Information will definitely flow toward us as the footage did, and we just showed you. And this was a tanker carrying smuggled fuel, and IRGC petrol boats stopped it and seized it. We'll definitely bring you more information as soon as we get them for you here on Press TV. And with this, we go back to our normal course of programming.
Iran's Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif has outlined the country's achievements in doing its part to reach the 2030 UN Sustainable Development Goals, despite challenges, notably U.S. sanctions.
In spite of huge impediment caused by unlawful unilateral sanctions, the Islamic Republic of Iran has made significant progress in people's empowerment and equality.
The Iranian foreign minister made the comments at an annual UN high-level political forum. Zarif noted that while Iran faces serious setbacks inside the country, like natural disasters and water scarcity, external threats impede its development goals.
Regional threats and insecurity caused by foreign-sponsored terrorism, extremism, and violence hamper our efforts. Our people are also subjected to the most brutal form of economic terrorism, deliberately targeting innocent civilians to achieve illegitimate political objectives.
He called U.S. unilateral sanctions against Iran unlawful and a violation of Security Council